The last 6 weeks laid the foundation for the next 2 weeks. And if you've not been doing the work, this lesson may feel confronting. By clearing emotional and mental clutter, you've been healing old experiences and learning to see your life from a healthier perspective. And if you felt breakthroughs, it's because you've shown up and you've done the work. But if you haven't felt breakthroughs, there are reasons. I didn't go from suicidal, sleepless, and hopeless to emotionally stable and resting by accident. That shift happened because of effort, because of repetition, because I did the work, even when it was uncomfortable. So if you haven't noticed real changes yet, it's not because this work doesn't work. It's because you haven't gone deep enough, or you haven't been willing to look at the experiences that have been running your life for weeks, months, and decades. Either way, your emotional pains are inside of you, and only you can do your healing work for you. Your transformation may have slowed, and your momentum may have stalled, and your breakthroughs may feel delayed. But the good news is you still have opportunities to heal. You are capable. You just need to be willing. Willing to look at what you've been avoiding and willing to create space to do the work. These last 2 weeks are going to ask more from you and ask you to continue to be up leveling. And this is where your life stops happening to you and starts happening for you. And that shift begins with accountability. The first 6 weeks were about support. You were given softness, safety, stabilization. And now that you've stabilized emotionally and mentally, it's time you grow into a powerful creator. And you will be challenged with love and support. Just like a mama bird eventually stops feeding her babies and nudges them out of the nest, this phase demands independence and courage. It asks you to discover what you're capable of. And it's time to learn to fly and discover what accountability is. Because without accountability, growth depends on the world cooperating with you. And when the world doesn't cooperate, life feels difficult, and the same patterns, relationships, and reactions repeat. And when I talk about accountability, I'm not talking about blame or shame. I'm talking about the accountability that replaces excuses with facts, stories with ownership, confusion with clarity. And yes, this kind will get uncomfortable, because when it shows up, your ego is going to want to get defensive. And it tries to protect its identity by looking for justifications, explanations, and people to blame. Just notice what happens when I say, you are accountable for all your experiences. And as we go through this week, notice what you feel and think. Your resistance and urge to justify, explain, or blame. Those reactions are normal, and they're exactly what this work is designed to disrupt. Accountability is ownership for your life as it is, not as you wished or hoped it would be. It's the willingness to stop outsourcing your circumstances and recognize that your life is shaped by your participation. And this doesn't mean every experience was right. Some things can hurt you and be yours to heal. And some things can be unfair and be yours to fix. And at its deepest level, accountability is the decision to stop living as a reactor and start living as a creator. And when accountability, you reclaim your power. You move from helplessness to choices. And this is not something you do only once. It's a practice like forgiveness and gratitude. It may feel heavy at first, but with repetition, it's going to become lighter. Now, here's an important distinction. Accountability doesn't mean you control your life. It means you own your experiences because you understand how you contributed to them. And accountability lives in 4 areas: 3, you directly control. 1, you hope to influence, but you definitely don't control. What you do control is what you do, what you think, who you're being. And those 3 create outcomes. The 4th area is outcomes. Those are influenced by other people, timing, circumstances, and forces larger than you. And you don't control outcomes directly. You control the causes. And this is where most accountability is. And once you see where accountability is, you start to notice that there's different levels to this. Heal Your Heart has been guiding you through these levels, and it's been part of every lesson. There is no accident you're at this point. There's 4 levels of accountability, and they exist on different levels of difficulty. The first level is what they did to me, commonly known as victimhood. This is where experiences happen to you. Life feels unfair, and it seems like it's everyone else's fault because your experiences don't feel like something you wanted. And from this perspective, what happened wasn't your fault. So it doesn't feel like it's your responsibility to change it. And this isn't about morality. This is about perspectives. And this is the most disempowering perspective. Because when everything is someone else's fault, your growth depends on them changing. In victimhood, challenges feel like attacks. Accountabilities feel like accusations. And responsibilities feel like someone else's work. And at this level, you're at 100% reaction. And transformation is impossible. The second level sounds like ownership, but it's still partial reaction. This level is what I did to them. Here people start to own their actions, but with conditions. And on the low side of this level is revenge. You say, I did what I did because they did what they did. And it feels justified, it feels fair, it even feels empowering until it doesn't. But this is still reaction. You acknowledge your actions, but you give someone else credit for causing them. And on the high side of this level, something shifts. You stop using the other person as the reason and you say, I did what I did and I own what I did. And this is where accountability becomes uncomfortable because guilt, regret, and embarrassment start showing up. But that discomfort isn't punishment. It's what it feels like as you're regaining your power. And even here, freedom isn't complete because the story can still sound like, if they weren't there, I would have not done. This level is about owning what you did. And the next level is about owning who you were being when you did it. The third level is what I did to myself. And this is the level Heal Your Heart was designed to bring you to. And this isn't about perfection. It's to create familiarity and comfort with owning your experiences. And at this level, there's no one left to blame, not because others didn't contribute, but because you realize blame weakens you. You stop asking what they did to you or what you did to them, and you ask, what did I do to myself? Who was I being? What did I ignore? Why did I repeat? And when did I lose myself? Here, people do soul searching, discover themselves, and start to feel freedom. They see that other people hurt them were often catalysts for transformations, not causes of pains. That mistakes were teachers and emotional pains were opportunities to grow. From this level, your story changes to no matter the circumstances and no matter who was involved, I choose who I was being and what I did. And at this level, you're no longer reacting, you're creating 100%. Not because life was fair, but because your power no longer depends on fairness. You did what you did because that's who you were. And when you see this clearly, without shame or judgment, transformation becomes inevitable. And once ownership becomes complete, your awareness starts to expand beyond yourself. And this is the fourth and rarest level of accountability, and it's impossible to be lived in all the time. And this level isn't about fixing the world. It's about recognizing that who we were and what we did matters to everybody. And it's not what happened to me, and it's not what I did to them, and not even what I did to myself. It's what are we doing to each other? This level isn't required for healing, and when it appears, it's a sign that your ego is finally let go, and compassion has expanded beyond yourselves. This level isn't meant to be lived in all the time, because without a strong foundation, it turns into guilt, burnout, and trying to save everybody. So here's what matters most. This is the first week that you're ready for this level of ownership. That you have the emotional bandwidth, clarity, and strength to take accountability for your life. And this isn't punishment. This is freedom. It's when you stop waiting for people and circumstances to change and you realize you're the one who created your experiences. You're the ones who can change it, and you're the one who can save you. And that's why this week matters. You stop living on accident and you start living on purpose. You start choosing who you are instead of reacting to who they were. Because your life is built by ownership, not excuses. And before I give you the work for this week, I want you to look back over all the weeks, not to judge yourself and not to correct anything, but to recognize something important. You've already been practicing accountability. We just didn't call it that. Go back through your notes, your journal entries, and exercises from weeks 1 through 6. Read them slowly, not as the person who wrote them down, but as the person you are now. And as you read, notice where you took ownership, where you found the facts instead of protecting your story, or you stopped blaming and started reflecting. You were not just ready. Each week required more accountability than one before it. Weeks 1 and 2, you created safety and awareness, and you slowed down your reactions. That was accountability for your nervous system. In week 3, you stopped asking, why did this happen to me? And you started asking, what can I learn from this? That was your first step out of victimhood. In week 4, you released the grip of others had on your emotional state. That required accountability for your reactions, not their behaviors. And in week 5, you owned your experiences fully enough to find value in it. And that advanced your accountability. You weren't just jumping levels, you were earning this. And here's the part you may have missed. And this is the part I want you to sit with. You have been training the whole time. Just like Daniel in the Karate Kid. He was waxing cars, painting fences, and sanding floors. And then one night, Mr. Miyagi shows him the truth. When Daniel was ready to give up, he learned he wasn't just doing chores. He was learning how to protect himself. And that's what's happened these last 6 weeks. You were not just journaling. You were learning to take ownership of your life. So I want you to pause and receive this with an open mind and heart. You've shown up. You've stuck with this. And you've done work most people avoid all their life. This matters to you, your loved ones, and those you're going to meet. You've been trained to navigate virtually every difficult experience you've had and will have. And this week isn't about doing something new. It's about owning what you've already built. Now, here's the work for this week. And as you review your past exercises, notice where you still may feel a little bit of resistance. And ask yourself, which entries feel uncomfortable to fully own? Where do I still want to justify, explain, or maybe soften the truth? Which experiences do I say I understand, but I haven't fully owned yet? that resistance isn't failure, it's a signal. If full accountability still feels too confronting, you don't have to force this. Just use the structure of this course. If something feels too hard to own, ask, what's here to teach me? And if resentment or emotional charges are still present, you can ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? And if experiences still feel heavy, you can ask, what value am I refusing to see yet? Accountability isn't about skipping steps. It's about moving honestly through them. Take accountability for your entire process. You've done this perfectly, the best you could with what you had from where you were. Notice where your power has been returning, why it's been returning, and how you've been causing it to return. Next week is the last week and the week that builds on everything you've done. Now that you've become more accountable for more of your life, it's time you take what you own and create more of what you want.